Welcome to Can Angels Fly. I'm Nancy, and this is a call to duty. Who am I calling to duty? Well, I'll cover that in the course of this video. As you can see, I have some pictures behind me, and we'll talk about these pictures behind me during the course of this video. Now, this video is serious. It goes with the prophetic prophecy I received March 6th of 2016. It goes with all of the messages from God. You know, God's been talking to us. We just don't understand him, she, however you like to address it, when it talks to us who, me, you, and every individual in humanity. So, what has God been saying? What has he been saying in all the astrological lineups? What has he, in general, been saying to humanity, to you, to me? In the last few videos, I've been covering or seeing creatures or beings, animals even, and I've been sharing those messages as I receive them. But it was this little creature here that sparked further research for me. Now, I did try to make a little layout, but I don't know how that's going to work. It's getting difficult for me. So, you know what I say. Just ride the wave with me. Now, I'll share this, that it's a few things that I want to share. I'll say it like that. This is getting a little more serious, and it's even borderlining on religion or heresy, I think it is called. Keep that in mind. It's important. And this video won't make sense to you if you have not been following the astrological interpretations, the prophecy, me talking about the world and the world at large, your personal life in the videos outside of the tarot readings. It's not going to make sense. So, I invite you to watch it if you want to, if you dare. But it's going to lead you back into those videos. So, I would prefer if you go find my little catalog listing that actually has those particular type of videos cataloged together. Now, as I mentioned, this video is a call to duty, and it's not my call, not mine at all. Remember, God has been talking to us. We just don't know how to hear him. In one of the last videos I did, last two I think, I mentioned this owl that appeared. It announced itself in the message. Oh, I know. It started with our red, blood, blue, something else moon. And in my video, when I did the interpretation, I focused on the color blue. And blue took us to this owl. That's what originally announced the owl. I didn't think it would go any further. I just assumed it was a fun fact associated with the color blue. But as life would have it, life is a teacher. I'd like you to pay attention to this center image behind me. Some time ago, as I was interpreting the stars, I realized God was saying to us, hey, I'm about to reveal the state of your souls. In that video, where I delivered the message, or one of the sequels to that particular video, I talked about a dream catcher. I also talked about creating a totem pole, like a Native American totem pole of images that represented traits of yourself, so that you could see your state of your soul. It's easy to see the physical. You don't want anything to do is look. But how can you see the state of your soul? The totem pole was a suggestion. This was as I prepared for that video, I was like, well, I'm gonna make a sample totem pole, and I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna try to zoom up. Hopefully, I don't lose me in all of this, but I want you to look at this totem pole. I just went off filling and created a totem pole that was a representative that I thought represented me, and I just got the drawing and just let my hand do what it do. But now this is, I'm telling you, this is how prophecy works. You don't even, we're going to talk about this. You don't even know that you're foreseeing most of the time or prophesying. We know that that has a religious aspect too, and it's shared in the text. This is not a video where I'm trying to convert anybody. Actually, I promote each individual going back to their religious doctrine and studying it with a new mindset. Before we go into this piece, and before I forget, I want to talk about going back and looking at your religious doctrine with a new mindset so that you can see. When I was younger, as I started to awaken, become enlightened, I started looking at all the evidence that was around and about me. And I was like, my goodness, it's like somebody, I literally said this to myself, it's like somebody threw up in the air a 1,000-piece puzzle and said, now put it together. You only got one life. A decade has passed since I made that statement to myself. And it has become truer than ever before. And why do I say this? I say that because my religion may not be your religion. And my religion and your religion may not be someone else's religion, nor doctrine, nor rituals. But it appears to me, through the little bit that I know, that our reality, the truth, or the foundation about our reality and why we are here and what we're supposed to do was known at some point in time. And someone or some folks did break it up into a 1,000-piece puzzle and threw it out all over the world in different nationalities, cultures, races, lands, and said, put it together, you got one lifetime. What it ultimately did was create confusion. And my religion doesn't correlate with your religion, and my religion and your religion don't correlate with the third party's religion. So what do? We argue, we fight, and we bicker. There are wars related to religion. But it seems to me that we all got a piece of the puzzle. But the only way we're going to put this puzzle together is if we all work together. Remember, we only got one lifetime. End of that little side note. And we're going to move back into this picture in the middle. A picture of a totem pole. If you don't know what a totem pole is, I ask you to Google it. Or find that video where I talked about it. Was called the state of address, the address of the state of the soul. The address of the state of the soul, I believe, is the title of the video, in which I introduced the idea of a totem pole. Now what I'm about to do is zoom in, because it was some prophecy in the creation of this particular image I made. Now, I'm going to zoom up again. I hope I don't lose me in the whole scene and all this. Let's see. Can you see? Where my hand at? Can I get on it? Him, right there. With the little wingspan. And he has little feathers, like peacock feathers on his head. Now, mind you, I didn't do no research on this at all. I just, like, okay, it has to be a totem pole. I did study totem poles and the meaning, but as far as artistic presentation, I didn't study. I just grabbed some pens and markers and started working on it to prepare for that video. Now, this little guy, or girl, let me see. I want to zoom up on him because it just came to me today. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. Him. You see his little head. Okay. Now, right now, you're not going to see me. I'm just going to talk. But this little guy, I say, when I drew him, I say he's a strange kind of bird. But I felt the energy of a bird being a part of my totem pole. And I was like, this is a strange bird. He looked kind of familiar. But I can't identify him. I just went with spirit or the flow. Now look at this image of, oh, it's just getting awful. I would really love to zoom in on him. Him. Now this is an image from Google. I think it said it had to do with the site called Pine Rest or something like that. I do not own this image, nor did I create this image that you see, that I'm focused on. That's not clear. But this owl here has peacock feathers on him. He has a crown of peacock feathers and very colorful feathers. And when I saw him today, which I was searching for an image for the, the cover image for this video, it took me back to, hi, I'm back. It took me to the totem pole I created. Now, what I say at the beginning, Hoot-ie, Call of Duty for the owls. Now, what is the call? We're going to cover, I'll say it like this. We're going to cover what it means to be an owl and the duty of an owl. To this, the owl has the ability to be a seer, to take in, to perceive, and the ability to analyze the information that the owl is taking in. And why does the owl see? Why has it been granted the gift? I say this borderline and on religion. Oh, you can take it there. Oh, before I go, I don't know. I can't follow outline. I'm just going to rant because there's so much information. How can you really organize it or categorize it? But I want to say this, that, if I didn't forget already, short memory span. Wise old owl, huh? Getting old. Anyway, I'm going to have to come back to it because I forgot that quick. So, the wise old owl is a seer. And why do they have that gift to see? Oh, I know what I was going to say. As I was talking about various religions and religious practices and doctrines, I was trying to point out that I'm not trying to convert anyone. Actually, I promote each of us going back to our religious sect and studying with a new mindset to see that we have been given a piece of that 1,000-piece puzzle somebody scattered throughout the earth. So we can work together somehow, some way, in order to rectify this situation that we are in. What situation are we in? We're in a situation where our physical existence here in this physical realm is being threatened. It's being threatened through others or particular people being or having the capability to manipulate circumstances and situations in their favor. We also are, our spirit, our soul is in danger of what they would say religiously being damned. What does that mean? We don't even want to find out, but we're going to have to explore that eventually. And I bring that up because what is this Bible that I study? Now, what I can honestly say, in all of the years, I've never been able to develop a term. I can see it, but I can't define it. I know it, but I can't say it. The Bible is a document. It is a record of past, present, and future. It is an acknowledgement of what was, is, and will be. Is it divinely inspired? I don't know that. I can't say 100% that's the case. But what I'm saying is that it's factual. So whoever wrote the Bible I'm talking about is like the King James Version. Now, I say whoever, we know who historically was supposed to have written it. But I'm saying whoever wrote it, were they challenged because of the time difference? I can even go as far, I hate when this computer does this, excuse me. I can go even as far to say, hey, and I'm not really into this part, but time travel. Somebody knew something and been given a forewarning. Hey, here's the forewarning. Here's what happened in the past. Here go what's going to happen. Stop it. Stop it. Because your very physical world and your soul hang in the balance. Stop it. Now, I don't know how to define this book because it has so much vital information. And it all has to be deciphered. Again, it's this difference in time periods or the way of communicating, in some way. I'll stop there. Because we have to get to this owl, which is a very, very important character. I don't ever remember reading about an owl in my Bible. But maybe other religious sectors have. I don't know. But I did do quite a bit of research on the owl today. And I'm going to break that down in this video. If you just ride the wave with me. This is an important thing here. Relative to our well-being. Now and into the distant future. Now. Let's see. Remember, I was saying, I don't think I've said it twice, so I'm going to say it another time. Third time. That the owl is a seer. And the owl is given the gift. That's another thing. I'm going to point out every time it's a biblical, it's something relative to the Bible. I'm going to point it out. That's what keeps setting me back because of the biblical stuff. That, in the Bible, it says every man and woman and child is given a gift. Okay. I digress. The owl, fourth time, is a seer. And takes in and perceives that which is taking place around it. And the purpose of being able to, of having that gift and being able to execute that gift is to deliver the message, guess what, pointing to what? Religion, salvation. These words are catchy. They're catchy. So I went to, where I like to go, www.dictionary.com, and I got some, I think it's called, it was a synonym? Synonyms for the word salvation. Because words are tricky. Words are tricky. They get you caught up. They get you stuck. We getting unstuck now so that we can see. So, synonyms, I think it's synonyms. Synonyms, if I'm wrong, correct me, just write it below. Yep, stay active. Are deliverance. So the owl sees and perceives and interprets in an effective manner in order to deliver a message of salvation, of deliverance, of emancipation, of liberation, of redemption, of restoration, of exemption. A lifeline, throwing somebody a lifeline, a message of perseverance or preservation, as well as safekeeping. Don't let the words trip you up. See, this is another part of prophecy. It is about following the line or the lineage of a word or a term or a statement. You got to get back to the root because it's been too much added. So, the word prophecy is something else that's holding us up. We got to replace it with something that is not so religious, so that we can begin to see. Anyway, I bring that up because that is the mission of the owl, to deliver a message that offers you, me, and every individual salvation. Or, like in the word, liberation. Liberation from what? If you follow me, I just did a video about the octopus. What did I name this colossal spiritual octopus? Was it Humus opus? That creature. To offer us liberation from the oppression, there's another word, but not religious. You know, that's a historical limiting word. So what other word can we use? Manipulation. Liberation from the manipulation of a system, a corrupt system of doing things that leads to destruction. That was a lot of words, y'all. Okay. Now, let's look at the definition of the word salvation, because we're trying to look at these words a little differently so we don't get so caught up, at least relative, or constantly connecting it to religion all the time. Can't see beyond the religious text. Let's get some definitions of the word salvation. The word salvation is the act of saving or protecting from harm, risk, loss, destruction. Now we're still talking about the mission of the owl. A source, cause, or mean of being saved or protected from harm, risk. And thirdly, I think this might be the last one, is the act of preserving or the state of being preserved from harm. That was the definitions. Those were definitions to salvation. It don't seem as mystical now when you read the definition or look at the synonyms. So let's hold on to the owl has a mission to deliver. The owl mission is to deliver a message of liberation or restoration, because we need the world needs to be restored. Why? Because we're living out of sync with the life. You got to watch the last video. Anyway, hoot, let's keep it moving. Now, why have I come to believe that the owl is such an important figure that I come on here on YouTube and make a video about it? Well, because this is the third time this owl popped up. Now, he's announcing himself. Now, the first time I shared already that the message or the importance of the owl or symbolism of the owl related to what we, humanity, have going on or what we are dealing with first arrived during the blue moon. As I studied the fun facts associated with the blue moon, it said that the owl was more drawn to the blue, color blue. And we had identified in that particular video, whatever it was titled, that the color blue represented a cause, a aim, a passion, or a purpose of a particular group the owl can see. Because the owl is attracted to the color blue, which is the equivalent of the people, the cause, and their cause. Okay. That was the first time the owl popped up. But unbeknownst to me, I spoke of the owl after that, and I wanted to count that as number 2. But that's what took me all day long, because I was like, I remember the owl before. I remembered it, but I couldn't. I was like, where is that? I know I've seen something about an owl before, and there's still one lingering in the back of my mind. Somewhere I've seen the owl before. Here is the great old owl, old wise owl once again. Actually, he presented himself even prior to the blue moon, as I created and talked about the importance of the totem pole so that you can see the state of your soul. White owl. Remember, now let me stop and break that down, because I know I'm doing a lot of talking. If I had said, hey, I suggest you make a totem pole that shows the state of your soul by drawing traits or characteristics you have in the form of animals or whatever totem pole was made of when I went through that video. So that in that video I remember seeing, so you can stick it up, sit across from it, and look at it. Can you look at yourself, your totem pole, and be okay with it? Was the question. Which means that that totem pole that I suggested that one makes based on the communications God was given to me, suggests that he was trying to get you a message out. That's what it was all about, the state of your soul, getting a message. So my whole point, even here, he was playing a messenger. Isn't that interesting? He was playing a messenger. So actually, this was the first announcement of the owl. Then the blue moon, second announcement of the owl. And then the third one that woke me up to this owl is significant is the other day I just made a video where I talked about catastrophic events, catastrophic weather anomalies I talked about. And I talked about Easter Island and Hawaii and the Pacific Ocean. In that interpretation of the stars relative to the earth, guess who appeared again? Yes, the owl. I announced it in that video. And why did that spark my interest in the owl, in the importance of the owl, in the role that the owl would play or is playing? It is because in my culture, you know, historically, when something happens in threes, that's significant. If it appears in threes, happen in threes, that's significant. How about this? Now, I rebuke this, but when I was growing up, I used to hear somebody die, be like, oh, you know, death come in threes. But I rebuke that. Okay. Next thing. Hot dog, I had the other third one. I forgot that quick. Bad memory. I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna have to take some King Cobra or something. Okay. But it's always, oh, I know. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. You know, you can go to jail once. You can go back again. Third time, you got a life sentence or you catch yourself a felony. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. So in my culture is what I'm pointing out historically. 3 is significant. It is life-changing. In this case, the owl is a messenger a seer who is also a messenger who delivers a message of salvation or liberation. 3 times this owl appeared to me. Now let's talk about some fun facts about owls. I know this is probably boring, y'all. Ride the wave with me because we're going somewhere. It's a bigger picture we're trying to get to. But we can only get to it a little bit at a time. And we can only deal with it as it is presented to me from divine, from universe, and from life. Okay. Anyway, fun facts about the owl. The owl is a bird. Okay. And it has slight flight. It has flight. I don't think owls do really long distance flying, but they can fly. Okay, but owls are birds. And they live mostly a solitary and nocturnal life. And you know my writing. Don't act like y'all don't. What do I have here? Live mostly a solitary and nocturnal birds of prey. And I wrote that down just as it was written. And of course I was in Wikipedia. And I'll just repeat, because maybe you'll get it, because I don't. We're talking about the owl. Live mostly a solitary and nocturnal birds of prey. I think they missed the word. We can kind of fill it in. They're nocturnal, and they're birds of prey. Birds that prey, but they do their activities at night. And they're very solitary. Now, these are physical characteristics of the owl. All of this is significant because we're identifying who owls are. And I go back to religion and religious practices. Let's add some of the what do you call it, iconography, the pictures painted in different religious sectors. Yes, I do remember doing my art history years, there being a few owls that were present, but it wasn't anything that we really paid attention to. I didn't anyway. But I bring it up because what we are identifying are who's an owl. Who is an owl? Well, it's so far we've learned that an owl is a being or creature that lives more a solitary life. They're more nocturnal, and most of what they do, or they pray at night. They do what they gonna do at night. Physical characteristics of the owl are an upright stance. That could say great posture, right? Possibly. Or righteousness. Okay, let's try that. And how about that? This is a bird has a large, broad head. How many folk got a big head in this world? Okay. And here's another thing that is directly related to the owl as a seer, as a witness, is that they have binocular vision. They can see. And the next thing that owls have is binaural hearing. Excellent hearing. You know how they look ears turn around? They picking up on stuff, okay, like a satellite or a radar. Okay. Important. Now, let's talk about some skills. Now, I need you to check this out, because we're trying to, what am I doing? We're looking for the characteristics of the owl beings that exist now. I spoke of the religion. I keep jumping off subject. I spoke of religion, who wrote that? They had difficulties sharing the information. I don't know if they were time travelers or what the case may be. Was the book divinely inspired? They had trouble expressing what was taking place during their time. They had information about the past, the now, and the future. And they had, so this information had to span all of this time. How long they say it's been? Just since Jesus Christ, 3,000 years. That's a lot of time. People have changed. We talked about that before. We're even changing in intellect, in awareness, in our consciousness, and in our behavior. So, the Bible, my Bible, that I studied all the years, the King James Version, and those that were similar, had a lot of different mystical type of creatures in there. Now, as I mentioned, I don't remember an owl. But okay. Just ride the wave with me. We're going to look at this, and we're going to look at it closer. So, we just talked about some of the physical characteristics or traits of the owl to identify who are the owl beings now. Who are some of these mystical creatures now? Who is playing this role now at this time? That some say, even myself, we are living in the final days. The owls have skills. And they had a few things, but the one I found that was most appropriate was that an owl can camouflage. Now let me read the insert that was attached in the Wikipedia to owls camouflaging. This is one of his skills. The coloration of the owl's plumage play a key role in the ability to sit still. Remember that solitary existence, and blend into the environment. I'm going to add something to that, y'all. Making it nearly invisible to prey. Now, I'm going to jump somewhere. I don't know how you're going to take it. If you just ride with me. Just ride with me. I brought up prophecy early on because, again, the words get us confused and they limit us in so many ways. But I want to bring that word back up because in my Bible, in that King James Version Bible, it spoke something. Now this is real loose. It's just loose because I don't remember what text it was in. But at the time, I understand the significance, and it fits here. I even mentioned it earlier that God gave every man, woman, and child a gift. Prophecy is one. It is also that, I don't even know how I say it in the Bible, but you won't get the credit for God's work. You won't get the credit for the divine. You won't get it. So why am I saying that? I really can't remember that particular scripture. But how am I aware that you're not going to get the benefits of God's work? Like even I can refer back to that prophecy, that vision I had March 6, 2016. I told you it was me, and it was many others in the world. Now, if people are sharing it, I don't know. I have ran into a few videos here on YouTube because I'm searching. I was searching because I know what I heard that evening, early morning. And God said, I mean, not God said, but I could hear it was many praying. And so I did. I ran into some folks. How are they presenting it? Well, that varies from person to person how they're presenting it. Okay. But I bring that up because at the time that event happened, that awakened vision or prophecy, the breaking of strongholds, that was in the Bible too, and I pointed that out then. 1,000-piece puzzle thrown up. Everybody got a piece of it. Okay. That God let it be known. I wasn't going to let you know because y'all have messed it up. Because I told you came on suddenly. Y'all have messed it up. And so why do I bring that up? That it came on suddenly. God couldn't let us know because we would have messed it up. No one will get the religious glory for God or the divine's work or plan because it is not something that you get to know without his assistance. Again, he generalized. Now, can darker energies infiltrate religion? Those angels that stole from God the secrets that man couldn't handle, those same secrets that have us advancing in technology, metal work and astrology, all those kind of things, doing herbs, roots and all that. Yeah, they can let you know some stuff, but it's definitely for your they'll let you know, but it's for your detriment. So what am I trying to explain here? So much information. How do I keep it in order, even with an outline? The way I have experienced divine, prophecy is real. But like when I drew this picture, you don't even know you get it until an appropriate time. It's like you will know when the time is right. And so it kind of bothers me when a person can give you this full-fledged understanding, especially about insignificant things, including terror. That's why I go deep, because that's a whole nother thing. Gifts is gifts. But I'm just saying that to watch out, because prophecy and seeing is granted to you and entrusted to you or individual under certain terms and conditions. In that, because that's a whole nother video. We're gonna come back to that too. So much to cover. Anyway, back to this owl and its skills. Now, I was just talking about the ability to camouflage. Oh, I ain't even finished. And I went over all that. Lost my line of thought. Because what does it mean to camouflage? Well, first, I have to confess that based on all the information that I've been getting, every man, woman, and child has their gift. What role is a person playing? It seems that I'm one of the many owls that exist in this world that can see and are delivering a message so that the world or the people in your area or your family can be delivered. Camouflage. Camouflage is what I'm trying to get to. Look at me. I'm just basic old Nancy. A Nancy of all trades. A poor, fat, black woman in this here United States. And I say it just like that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. But it talks about the owl having the gift to camouflage. Camouflage gives you the element of surprise. People don't pay you attention. You blend right into the environment. They don't think you're a threat. They don't think you're aware. This is another trait of the owl. What am I getting to? Are you an owl? Well, we're going to bring that up. I'm just bringing up some of the traits now. Anyway, the next skill. I talked about this, but most owls are nocturnal, actively hunting their prey in darkness. Interpretation of something so basic in Wikipedia, but you got to look at all the information that's offered to you in your portion of the 1,000-piece puzzle. If I'm an owl, when I do what I do, it comes from a dark place. That place is dark because I'm camouflaged in the environment. An owl is camouflaged in their environment. So you get to move stealthily on whatever you're going to do. You don't even seem like a threat. Nobody's aware you're there. It is the element of surprise. Again, I point out, and it may be out of order, no one will get the glory, religion, of the divine's works. Okay. Now, I want to talk, I'm still talking about this owl because this owl is insane and he's a character in this world. And I'm asking, are you an owl? We're going to get to it if I don't forget. Are you an owl? Okay. I want to look at some of the cultural symbolism and mythology associated with the owl. Again, this is just a part of the one piece of that 1,000-piece puzzle thrown up globally. Now I'm diving into other cultures' pieces of puzzle relative to the owl. In Africa, it is believed that in certain parts, I'm not in the certain parts around Kenya, I'll say, because the name of this actual area I can't even pronounce, so I ain't gonna act like I can. So, in Africa, somewhere around Kenya, it was believed that owls were harborers of death. If one saw an owl or heard it hoot, someone was going to die. Owls are viewed as harbors of bad luck, ill health, or death. That wasn't very good news, was it? But you can look back at the video I created about 3 weeks ago of the astrological alignment, and I think that's the video also in which I covered the color blue, the fun facts about the color blue. And it was like a sequel video that ran right after that. If you look at it, it'll make sense. Like I said, this video won't make sense to you isolated from all the other works I have done. Anyway, let's move on to other cultural symbolism and mythology associated with the owl. In Asia, in Mongolia, the owl is regarded as a benign omen. Which I should have looked up the definition of omen, but it's to let you know. It is spiking of the intuition. It becomes this awareness, that kind of thing. In modern Japan, owls are regarded as lucky and are carried in a form of a talisman or charm. Going back to this, and in no way was I over looking in Japan for totem poles originally, but this would be considered, especially if shrunken and being able to put in what they call maybe a mojo bag or cloth bag, a talisman or a charm. So they carried owls because they were considered lucky. Now, in ancient European and modern Western culture, let's look there. The modern West generally associate owls with wisdom, and that's what I focused on in my video when I first became aware of the owl. That's when I talked about the color blue. Now, one more culture, if you just ride the wave with me, is Hinduism. Remember, we're looking at other cultures, pieces of that 1,000-piece puzzle that has to do with our existence, the foundation of our existence, why we're here and what we're asked of us. We're going overseas to find out what they know about the owl. In Hinduism, the owl is referred to as Vahana. Vahana, maybe. That literally means to carry, to push, to carry, that pushes, pull, as to a vehicle. Now, gain understanding right now what I was saying, what I wrote down, because I was like, to push and pull and carry, as to a vehicle. A deity mounts and rides the Vahana, the owl. Now, why is that important? Going back to the video I made the other day when I was talking about Easter Island and Hawaii and the Pacific Ocean. I didn't go all down through there. It's impossible for me to go all down through there. I'll be having school on this video. Videos would be 5 and 6 hours long a piece. But then we start talking about mythology. And the gods start to come up. And here in Hinduism, and so I talked about that sector because it talked about the gods getting active. Remember I said a plan was being set up? This is the plan of the gods being set up to rebalance the life. So, now mind you, the gods. Now, it's gods all over. That's the whole thing. It's all over the place. But I'm just talking about those particular gods in that area that's working on a plan to rebalance this life because of our destructive nature. That one of those, and this is where this is when I really seen the owl, the significance of the owl. One of those goddesses rides the owl like a vehicle. And remember, I guess I gotta say this. I didn't write this down. Kinda. I'm gonna read this, then I'll say what I kind of left out. Too much writing. So I just talked about how the deity or the goddess rides the owl like a vehicle. Or the owl is positioned on the deity's side, or symbolically represented as a divine attribute. Based on the Hindu symbolism of the owl and what it's associated with, one of those goddesses over there near Easter Island and Hawaii and the Pacific Ocean, sidekick is an owl. Now, what did I leave out when I was writing? Because it was too much writing. Is that owl can act with the god or the deity, or it can act independently. But it is like a messenger for the god, or the gods, or the deity. And in this case, what I was picking up before I knew all of this, because you got to remember, this is prophecy. I didn't know none of this. This is through the information that is being offered and following the trails that the God has set forth. Like I say, ain't nobody gonna get glory or well, I can't think of the word. Of course I can't think of the word. Get glory for the works of the divine. You're just not. That ain't how it works. So, the divine has sent forth into this world seers. Their mission is to see, perceive, interpret, and give a message to the world, to you, me, and every individual in humanity, for the purpose of our salvation, liberation from a system that is corrupt and manipulating circumstances and situation in its favor, and is highly destructive to the life we people, humans, are in life. So, at this time, what am I trying to say? At this time, this goddess or deity is not riding the owl, like coming into action. No. It's like this goddess or deity has sent the messenger forth to perform independently of herself, himself, however you like, to define any given divine energy here. Because again, I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm just talking about all the facts. It doesn't matter to me if it's in a physical realm, as far as medical, education, law. All of it is a piece of this huge puzzle. All of it is a piece of the bigger picture, and we can't see because, number one, at one time, we didn't have the awareness, the consciousness to see that the truth had been scattered abroad all over the world. Now we can see. Now we have advanced in technology, and we can pull from each other's cultures, etc., and put the puzzle together. It's starting to come together. God has been talking to us. We did not know how to interpret the language. Now we got the keys to do so. Now, before I get to ministering and preaching, because I feel I ain't gonna say nothing, somebody gonna get mad. Anyway, another thing that the owl is used for traditionally is to not only to be a messenger, but he also controls the rodents. Now you can take that, and I want you to work with that. If the owl is used traditionally for rodent control, who's the rodent? Okay. Anyway, let's see. Oh, what is that? That's 3. So I've done all that. Okay, I did that, and that. So it was something else I wanted to touch. What has this video been about? Well, of course, the significance of the owl at this point in time. And it's learning how to prophesy or identify the various components and characters of this experience or this time in the life, so that you can see clearly what is taking place, what role you are playing, etc., etc. This owl is an important character at this time. The owl is a seer of the events and causes and situations in this world, and they deliver the message, the truthful message. Oh, I know what I want to say. I believe that we all have the ability of prophecy to certain degrees. It actually has to do with how deep you can go. How deep you can go. But one thing I know for certain is that we all got a story. Now, I don't know what it is about me that people come up to me and tell me their whole story. The whole story. They don't stop. I visit them. I've heard a lot of stories in my life, and to be frankly honest, they're unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I'm supposed to see and then deliver the message. And why do I say that? Again, we all have a story, and some of us haven't spoken our story. Some of us know truths. I mean, deep, dark truths about this stuff in the life, these experiences, these institutions, these places, these businesses, these interactions, etc., etc. But we ain't said a word. We ain't said a word. But you see, like I said at the beginning of this video, who you got a call of duty. And your call is to share. Your cause is to share your message. Many of you have already seen, already witnessed, and already experienced. This is your call to duty, to share the message. Why are you sharing the message? Because the truth must be had. The time is now. We are aware. We are conscious. We can reach for different pieces of the puzzles on the other side of the world, out of different cultures, etc., etc. Now it's starting to make sense. The problem is we have people just caught up, stuck, can't think past their toes or what they already been indoctrinated into. So it has to be somebody close to you. Somebody that's part of your tribe or your crew, somebody that you trust, that shares, so that a person, an individual, a person stuck, know they're not alone. Now that goes into a whole nother video where we're going to have to talk about the reality of our world and us challenging it and us changing, and you know, it ain't going to come easy. It ain't going to come easy, but that's a whole different video. Now there's one other thing I wanted to read to you, and it has a significance. Once again, you know how I say it, I like you to ride the wave with me. I also remind you before I read this insert from the Bible, I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm just going back to my early religious sect, looking at the information that was offered there through a whole different lens, and now seeing and understanding like never before what was being said. And this scripture that I want to read has significance, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But let me read the insert from the King James Version. I guess, let's see. Oh no, this is, why do I always find these words that I don't know how to pronounce? Lord have mercy. All that education and still can't read. Y'all pray for me. Anyway, this is from the Bible. It's not from the King James Version. I don't even know. I ain't never heard of this one. But in general, just trying to see where the version is. I don't want to click on nothing and lose it. No, I just read it. Okay. It is from a study Bible though. And the scripture I'm going to read is 1 Thessalonians 5:2. Now, about the times and seasons, brothers, we do not need to write to you, for you are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying peace and security, destruction will come upon them suddenly, like labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. That's deep. Read that again now. A couple of decades later, through some new lenses, it makes sense. Because now I got more of the puzzle pieces. It took a long time. But what I would really want to highlight here is it says, the Lord, whoever your Lord is, will come like a thief in the night. Now, this is the role of the owl, is to make known, make aware that which is coming. See, it's another video, it's another part that needs to be made. So that when that time of tribulation, religious, hits, you're not surprised. It doesn't come to you like a thief in the night. The owl beings now, people like myself and others that can see, can testify, have witnessed, and will share the message, a message that brings liberation. One of the things that you're being liberated from is from those difficult times or challenges coming to you like a thief in the night. And it was just interesting, again, to read that verse through a new lens. And it says, while people are saying peace and security, destruction will come upon them suddenly, like the labor pains on a pregnant woman. What am I spotlighting now, right before I close this video, is that it reads like labor pains on a pregnant woman. So interesting, so interesting. Because astrologically, we know that Jupiter, I believe it was, just traveled through Virgo, the Virgin. And it moved and it transversed and it came down, like, you know how the baby get drawn up and then drop back down in the canal. She was going through labor pains. So to me, I mean, and if I read more, but I know y'all don't want me to read more of those verses, so I'm going to stop there. But if you read more, it points to that astrological event in the sky that happened, I don't know, about 5 or 6 months ago. So my whole point is, we were never ever left in the blind. We just got caught up in the terms, in the rituals, etc., etc. Now, what is it about? It's really about what I'm going to say in closing. It is really about, now for real, doing your Bible study by yourself. Get your dictionary of thesaurus and your Google, internet, and get to work. Because, as mentioned, there's a lot of information out here. Not one single person can break it all down. 1,000-piece puzzle. You are responsible for obtaining a part of that puzzle. What has this video been about? The owls, those that see. These are people that have already begun to pay attention, to notice, and to witness, and to interpret what they see, and to share what they have come to know. Through what? Through life, and through the messages given by our divine creator. Overall, what is it really about? And I said it over and over again, I think, is that the universe, God, has no desire to destroy us. We are part of life. But and divine knows that we've been bamboozled. So it's giving us the opportunity, now that we have the conscious awareness, to wake up and to see for ourselves. So, what you gonna do about it? Until next time. Bye.